Call that. Received word as he was on Air Force One traveling to Jordan that his meeting with Maliki was off tonight. The White House insists this has nothing to do with a story that appeared in the New York Times this morning, citing a confidential White House memo with deep concerns about whether Maliki is up to the job. Maliki arrived in Amman first, under a cloud of doubt. The memo, written by National Security Advisor Stephen Hadley 3 weeks ago today, doesn't question Maliki's desire, but his capability. His intentions seem good when he talks with Americans, but the reality on the streets of Baghdad suggests Maliki is either ignorant of what is going on, misrepresenting his intentions, or that his capabilities are not yet sufficient to turn his good intentions into actions. President Bush had boarded Air Force One expecting discussions with Maliki and King Abdullah. Instead, he was left to visit just with the host, Jordan's king. The White House insisted Mr. Bush was not snubbed and that he'll meet with Maliki tomorrow. Expected on the agenda, the repositioning of U.S. troops inside Iraq, engaging Iran and Syria, and dealing with the militias. Maliki's relationship with the militia's leader, anti-American cleric Muqtada al-Sadr, was today's other headline. 30 members of the Iraqi parliament and 6 cabinet ministers loyal to Sadr made good on a threat and walked out on the government today to protest Maliki's meetings with Mr. Bush. And to further throw things off balance here, today President Bush's former Secretary of State Colin Powell added his name to the list of those who say Iraq is in a state of civil war. Powell says he uses that term because, quote, I like to face reality. Katie?
Jim, any more insight as to why this first scheduled meeting didn't happen?
Apparently, Prime Minister Maliki was not happy when King Abdullah tried to widen and broaden the agenda to include a discussion about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. He's under enough pressure not to be here to begin with at home. When they tried to add that to the agenda, he said no way.
Jim Axelrod traveling with the president tonight. The goal for both the United States and Iraq is to get U.S. troops out as soon as possible. But with the violence in Iraq only getting worse, the Pentagon is getting ready to send more troops in. Here's David Martin with the latest.
With conditions in Baghdad too dire to wait for the outcome of either the summit or the administration's strategy review, commanders in Iraq have ordered reinforcements into the capital. About 3,500 U.S. combat troops are being moved from other parts of the country into the city, where a combined force of 40,000 Americans and Iraqis have so far been unable to stop the spiral of violence. The American reinforcements will take the place of Iraqi troops, which the government had promised but never delivered. But as Democratic Senator Jack Reed said, numbers alone are not likely to determine the outcome.
I think that the number of U.S. forces is not the critical issue. The critical issue is what the Iraqi government is going to do to keep their government together, quell the violence, and provide the services to the people that a government should and must provide.
Members of the Iraq Study Group, headed by former Secretary of State Baker, have now reached agreement on their recommendations for a new war strategy, which will be delivered to the president and released publicly a week from today. Sources close to the group expected to recommend a restructuring of U.S. military forces, putting in more trainers and fewer combat troops, setting a timetable for the Iraqi government to take responsibility for its own security, and holding talks with Iran and Syria.
The White House says the group's report will be a factor but not a blueprint for the president in deciding on changes in his war strategy. David Martin, CBS News, the Pentagon.
Now let's bring in our correspondent in Baghdad, Elizabeth Palmer. Elizabeth, David Martin just reported that thousands more U.S. troops will be deployed in Baghdad. What is the reaction on the street there?
Well, I have to say it's going to be skepticism on the part of most Iraqis because they've been promised 2 big troop initiatives, U.S. troop initiatives, in the past 6 months that were designed to quell the violence here, and neither has worked out that way. So although they recognize they need help with security, they're not at all convinced that more U.S. soldiers is the answer. Now, as for Muqtada al-Sadr's followers, they're going to regard this as a deliberate provocation. They have said from the beginning they want U.S. troops out and quickly. So the idea that the troop strength is going to be beefed up has made them very angry. In fact, when we talked to them a couple of hours ago, they said this might not only make them boycott the government indefinitely, but they may even decide to quit altogether.
Elizabeth Palmer in Baghdad tonight. Zalmay Khalilzad is the U.S. ambassador to Iraq. He's here in Jordan for the summit. I spoke with him earlier tonight and asked him if he fears Prime Minister Maliki is too weak to restore order and govern his country.
Prime Minister Maliki faces a huge challenge. There is a sectarian conflict that's going on there. There are terrorists who are seeking to undermine his government. There are other armed groups who are also outside the control of the government. There are some neighbors who are seeking to undermine his government. So he's got a lot on his plate. I feel his pain. As the ambassador there, I can see the huge challenges that he faces.
Does he have your confidence?
He has my confidence. I believe that he wants Iraq to succeed, and he's a prime minister. Iraq's failure will be his failure. His success will be Iraq's success.
What do you think the big news of this summit meeting will be? Will more authority be transferred in terms of overseeing the Iraqi security forces to Prime Minister Maliki?
There will be an agreement on transfer of capabilities, Iraqi capabilities, at the faster rate to the Iraqis and to the Prime Minister, yes.
Many people will be disappointed and upset to hear that additional troops are being sent right now.
I think an adjustment in our strategy that has prospects, increased prospects for success, that would involve even some additional troops, I believe, will have support.
What would you say to Americans who feel this is a lost cause? It's just an abyss of violence.
I can understand that looking from far away from the United States, that this looks a very difficult situation, that we're not making as much progress as the American people would like, that a lot of lives are being lost. But the goal of success in Iraq, for the sake of the future of this region, which is the defining challenge of our time, we need to do all that we can to help Iraq succeed.
There's much more CBS News straight ahead. And still to come from Amman, the plan was to train the next generation of Iraqi police officers right here in Jordan. Why that plan failed, next.
My kids call me the finisher. Finish up in there.
Okay.
Finish your homework?
Yes.
Finish your vegetables. Something I thought I was finished with? Managing my acid reflux disease. I thought it was just bad heartburn, but my doctor said over time, stomach acid was damaging the lining of my esophagus. She prescribed Nexium. Said I needed more than heartburn relief. My esophagus needed repair. One prescription Nexium pill a day not only relieves my heartburn, it healed erosions in my esophagus. So I don't just feel better, I am better. My doctor did say headache, diarrhea, and abdominal pain could be side effects of Nexium, and other serious stomach conditions may still exist.
This holiday season, visit purplepill.com for up to $30 off your next prescription of Nexium.
I tell him you shouldn't do anything halfway. Let's finish up.
If you're without prescription coverage and can't afford your medication, AstraZeneca may be able to help.
Someone you love may be a numismatist. It's true, millions collect coins. It's the rush they get collecting something worthwhile. But they need your help. Give them genuine coins from the United States Mint. Polished, radiant, irresistible. Your gift will make a difference for generations to come. Visit usmint.gov. United States Mint. Genuinely worthwhile.
What are you? Decoration?
No, I'm a package. Gifts, actually.
So why are you up on the porch?
Well, if you have to know, Mrs. Johnson's very busy, so she put me out here.
Earth's the package. That porch is not the post office.
Oh, contraire, my plastic friend.
That's fine. That's fine. Whatever. Hey, go. My place is here with the snow people.
Even during the holidays, the post office comes to you with free package pickup.
The best in German engineering. A powerful motor.
and a handling system for precision and control from Braun. Introducing the world's first electric shaver with the expertise of Gillette blade technology. Precisely angled edges cut hair more effectively with every stroke. For Braun's closest, most comfortable shave ever. It even cleans and renews itself. The new 360 Complete from Braun. Precision, control, perfection.
On the eve of the summit here in Amman, there is no greater priority for President Bush and Prime Minister Maliki than training Iraqi security forces so they can take the place of U.S. troops. Surprisingly, the effort to rebuild Iraq's police force started right here in Jordan. But as Mark Phillips reports, it's been a very bumpy ride.
Once it was hoped the march to the new Iraq would begin here on a parade ground just outside of Amman, Jordan. Now the future of this police academy and of its graduates is as uncertain as that of the country itself. The academy, set up here shortly after the fall of Saddam, has brought Iraqi recruits in to be trained by international instructors in the hope that they'd be the seed crop of a new Iraqi police culture, one that would protect citizens, not prop up a repressive regime. More than 40,000 have been trained here, a third of Iraq's total force.
It gives them an opportunity to focus solely on the training that's at hand.
That's the good news. The bad is that the same divisions that are tearing Iraq apart at home are at work here. The cadets are Iraqi Shias and Sunnis and Kurds, communities that are virtually at war.
Here's a little fact that illustrates the problem. When this firing range was designed, the instructors were worried about giving weapons with live ammunition to Iraqis from the various warring communities. So they built these sandbag defenses to hide behind just in case. Not only that, but all the instructors are armed.
While fighting never broke out here, loyalties to the warring militias are a problem, which is why the Iraqi instructors fear their identities becoming known.
The main enemy is the militias. This is the problem we got in Iraq, because the militias control everything.
Thus far, more than 2,600 Iraqi cops have been killed in insurgent and sectarian attacks. And all the training provided here can't really prepare the cadets for what happens when they try to confront the militias at home.
They're going to kill his friend or his brother or his father.
So when they arrest somebody, they have to worry about the effect, the repercussions on their own family.
That's right.
If this other guy is part of some militia or other.
Yeah.
This academy is now literally marching into the sunset.
It's become increasingly embarrassing for the Iraqis to have to train police outside the country, and the plan now is to move all the training back into Iraq, back into all the problems the facility here tried to avoid, but didn't quite, Katie.
And Mark, why was this training academy set up here in Jordan in the first place?
In a word, security. It was considered too dangerous to set it up there. Of course, now it's moving back into what is arguably an even more dangerous situation.
Mark Phillips, thank you, Mark. I'll be back with more from Amman, including the story of Iraqi refugees who have fled here to Jordan, a hardship for them and their new country. But next, Harry Smith in New York will have the rest of the day's news and part 3 of our series, Overweight in America. Will a new pill now on the market in Europe be the magic bullet many in the States have been waiting for?
Are you like me? I have high blood pressure and I have high cholesterol. Sometimes problems come in twos, but sometimes help can come in one. Catawit. Catawit contains the leading branded blood pressure medicine, Norvasc, and Lipitor, the leading branded cholesterol medicine, combined in one pill, Catawit. Catawit is one of many treatment options that I discussed with my doctor. Ask your doctor if Catawit is right for you. Along with diet and exercise, one pill doing 2 jobs for me. My doctor said Catawit is not for everyone. It's not for people with liver problems and women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant. To check for liver problems, you need simple blood tests. Tell your doctor about any heart problems and all other medications you are taking, or if you experience muscle pain or weakness, as they may be a sign of a rare but serious side effect. For blood pressure and cholesterol-lowering benefits, it's Catawit. 1 pill, 2 medicines. Makes sense to you? Makes sense to me. 1 pill, 2 medicines. Ask your doctor if Catawit is right for you.
Here I come.
Want to look your best this weekend? Rent a car from Enterprise for 50% off. Friday to Monday, 50% off. Most cars, most weekends, most neighborhood locations. Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
Maud, cows are out.
I found it.
Things are easier to find when they're stuck together. Gladware interlocking lids lock together so you always know where they are. For lids that are easy to find, get Glad.
Wherever good can overcome, that is where your contributions to the Salvation Army go.
It's not simply the snow itself that's hazardous, but rather the unexpected ways it chooses to fall. The Lexus ES 350 with vehicle stability control. See Lexus of Portland.
There's a new twist in the mysterious death of a former Russian spy, and that tops our CBS News briefing. Today, British police announced they've now found traces of radiation on 2 British Airways jets that flew between London and Moscow and to several other cities in Europe. High doses of radioactive polonium were found in the body of former KGB agent Alexander Litvinenko. Before he died last week, he claimed Russian President Putin had him poisoned. Pope Benedict visited Christian sites in mostly Muslim Turkey today, celebrating Mass at a shrine to the Virgin Mary, where some believe she once lived, and meeting with leaders of the Orthodox Church. A statement claiming to be from al-Qaeda in Iraq blasted the Pope's trip as a crusader campaign against Islam. Here at home, Ford said today nearly half its union workers will leave the company starting in January. 38,000 have accepted the buyouts ranging from $35,000 to $140,000. Ford hopes to cut $5 billion in cost by the end of 2008. If you're trying to cut some excess pounds, you know losing weight takes work. Too much work, apparently. A new Gallup survey finds more than 2/3 of overweight Americans have quit trying. But what if you could just pop a pill and trim the fat? There is one in Europe, and the FDA is considering making it legal here. Richard Roth has more as we continue our series, Overweight in America, the Science, the Solutions.
I'm not the world's greatest dieter, I have to be honest. Anyone who's slim says it can't be that difficult. You've only got to diet.
Marie Smith figures she's 50 pounds overweight. Does this sound familiar?
My daughter's not very encouraging. She's, oh, for God's sake, Mother, lose weight, you look awful.
She's just begun taking a new pill prescribed by her doctor.
This is my miracle pill. I'm not going to be fat and 60. I want to be slim and 60.
Called Rimonabant and sold here under the brand name Acomplia, it's not a wonder drug, according to Marie's doctor. But it may be a wonderful drug.
The most exciting thing about the drug is over and above the effect induced by weight loss, you get more effect on the cholesterol, on the sugar, and on the other risk factors that make obesity such a risky condition in the first place.
The fact is, no matter what you may soon be hearing about a remarkable new obesity drug, you still can't make up for something like this just by taking a pill. But Rimonabant shows promise in a new class of drugs, medicine that targets the same biochemistry affected by a well-known non-prescription drug, marijuana. The reason it's been nicknamed a pill to fight the munchies. Rimonabant turns off the same switches inside the body that marijuana turns on.
I want 30 sliders, 5 French fries, and 4 large cherry cokes.
Which may explain reported side effects that are just the opposite of feeling mellow.
You're going to be that much less chilled, you're going to be a little bit more uptight, you're going to be a bit more anxious, you maybe even get depressed.
Weight loss is not dramatic, and long-term effects of Rimonabant aren't known. None of that worries Marie Smith. She just wants her old self back.
Oh, yeah. Anything that wouldn't help me lose the weight, because inside this little short fat lady is a slim one desperate to get out.
And in her mind, she says, the pill is going to work. Richard Roth, CBS News, Watton-at-Stone, England.
For more information about drugs and other weight loss solutions, go to cbsnews.com or to our partner in health coverage, webmd.com, and search weight loss. Tomorrow morning on The Early Show, we'll weigh the risks and benefits of gastric surgeries. And on the CBS Evening News, we'll investigate whether some foods are literally addictive. I'm Harry Smith in New York. Katie will be right back from Jordan, home now to up to 1 million Iraqis who have fled the violence. Katie has their story next.
I have high blood pressure, but I was surprised to find out it might lead to erectile dysfunction.
You think you know everything about diabetes, but no one ever told me it could lead to ED.
So I talked to my doctor. He said that certain health conditions like high blood pressure
or diabetes may lead to ED,
and that Levitra can help.
Doctors know Levitra works for men with ED, even those with high blood pressure or diabetes. Levitra is only for men healthy enough for sexual activity. If you have heart problems or are on alpha blocker therapy, talk to your doctor before taking Levitra. Do not take Levitra if you take nitrates for chest pains, as this may cause an unsafe drop in blood pressure. Side effects may include headache, flushing and stuffy or runny nose. To avoid long-term injury, seek immediate medical help if you experience an erection lasting longer than 4 hours. If you have any sudden decrease in vision, stop taking Levitra and call your doctor right away.
Talking to my doctor took a lot off my mind.
You should talk to your doctor about Levitra.
The more you know about ED, the more you'll want to know about Levitra.
Hi, Jay Bush and Cousin Drew here for Bush's Homestyle Chili. I slow cook it according to a secret family recipe with premium ground beef and a special blend of spices for a homemade taste. Say, Drew, what do you say you let me see where you keep the secret family recipe? All right, Jay, but don't tell your dog Duke. He can't keep a secret. Duke, how did you get in here?
Oh, I had some doggy doors put in.
Enjoy Bush's Homestyle Chili. Looks like homemade, tastes like homemade.
That's me, Brett Favre. And it's my 9th day with Prilosec OTC. Now, frequent heartburn is no big deal. Zero heartburn for 24 hours with 1 pill a day. So what day are you on?
Want an alternative to a thermal facelift? Warm up to Olay's new Regenerist Thermal Contour and Lift Treatment. Step 1 warms and helps recontour skin's surface. 2 hydrates to strengthen skin structure, lifting with a heated measure, not a drastic one.
I'm Stephanie Acerno, and this is my story. I come to people's homes and I wrap their Christmas and Hanukkah presents for them. People will call me up, can you come over? And it'll be Christmas Eve. And I'm smiling and singing Christmas carols. I want to make their holiday look good. I have arthritis in my back. I sit for long periods of times hunched over. It's a real strain. No one wants to see a holiday grimace. I take a leave. Later, I'm just not in pain, and then I go, oh, that'll leave, it worked again. The real reward is that at the end of it, I'm still smiling. That's the best part for me.
Tomorrow, do you know how many various surgery options there are for overweight Americans? Which one is right for you? Find out as our series Overweight in America continues tomorrow on The Early Show.
Since the U.S. invaded Iraq in 2003, big plans for peace and democracy have given way to bloody sectarian fighting in the streets of Baghdad. Many Iraqis have responded by voting with their feet and leaving the country, and many are now here in Jordan. But it's a kind of no man's land. They're not officially recognized as refugees, but they can't go home either. Here's their story. In the 3.5 years since the U.S. invaded Iraq, Jordan has seen an influx of nearly 1 million Iraqis, according to some estimates. For a nation of just under 6 million people, that's a huge number to absorb. Parts of Amman might as well be called Little Baghdad. The cafes are full of Iraqis discussing the latest news from home, and the streets are jammed with thousands of new cars. Tonight, I sat down with a group of Iraqis who are affluent enough and lucky enough to make it to Jordan. Haitham Noim was a successful engineer in Baghdad. He has no job in Jordan, but had no choice about leaving.
We are waiting for our death in Baghdad.
Zuhair Sabri Ali and his wife Ida Samurai are both doctors. They've lost their careers. their country and are now struggling to hold on to their families.
I want it to be safe, and I can go there and leave again, and this is, I think, the hope of all people.
That's the hope. Is it possible, do you think?
I really don't know, because I can't understand what's happened in our country.
Ghassan Rassim still has a law office in Baghdad, but can't go back.
Somebody is coming and shoot you, and you don't know who
or why.
And why.
This is a souk or marketplace where many Jordanians come to shop for things like produce. But the influx of refugees from the war next door has meant higher prices for things like food, gas, and housing. In fact, home prices in some neighborhoods have doubled in the last year alone. And some Jordanians are none too pleased.
If you ask anyone, you feel it's too much hard to live here in Jordan.
Hard to live for Jordanians because of the refugees.
Yes.
Despite the obvious pressures, the government here insists there is no refugee crisis, a statement that surprises some outside experts.
The silence that we see throughout the region and beyond is really stunning. Nobody wants to admit that this is a refugee crisis.
And as tough as life is for many of these refugees in Jordan, they're generally able to support themselves. Iraqis of lesser means are migrating to Syria and Egypt and facing an even tougher life. Another example of how the chaos in Iraq is having an impact on this entire region. That's the CBS Evening News. I'm Katie Couric in Amman, Jordan. I'll be back here tomorrow with the latest on the Bush-Maliki summit, including a conversation with Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice. Till then, thank you for watching. Have a good night.
CBS News. See it now, anytime, anywhere.